Hey guys, what's up? It's Amir Reiter with the Transform Sales Podcast, the Transform Life Edition, and I'm actually very excited because I have Jared Robin, the founder of RevGenius, one of the
Everything.
Rev Everything, one of the biggest communities that I'm part of. What's up, man? How are you? Thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me on so quickly. We go from a text message this morning to on the show. I appreciate your time to action.
Well, the thing is, I know that sales transformed your life, right? Like I've been following you for a long time, and I think it's time that everybody in every community, because we touch every community these days, right? Especially the remote candidate community, like really just know the truth, right? That you can start a career in sales at any time, and it can have a massive impact on your life. I think a lot of people don't. They see you as the founder of a huge community. They don't remember they don't hear about the days that you were breaking into it. But before we get into that, probably ask this question a lot because I know you're huge on content, but what's a cool fact about you that people don't know? And let's see if we can
Do 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 do.
do.
I've won 2 international fashion film awards in Copenhagen, best international fashion film and best idea, and I was in 10 international fashion film festivals with that same film. The other 9 I did not win, but the fact that we got into so many and all of that, and that came with me, my side hustle running a digital fashion magazine right after I broke into tech.
I'm going to transcribe this and feed it into ChatGPT 4. So when people are trying to reach out to you, they can use this cool fact about, can use this weapon against you. That's the future we
So
live in.
if they do that, give me a little something extra about that film, and that's pretty rad. Not just the fact
Guys,
that it was there.
go a step further about the film. Do a little research with ChatGPT because that's everything.
Yeah.
How did you get into sales? Tell me about. We're going to ask next how it affected your life, but how did you get into sales?
My dad was in sales. So I always knew. Everybody says like they fall into sales or it was never the first option. It was honestly my second option. Um, my dad was a sales rep for Columbia Sportswear and other outerwear companies. And I thought that was a pretty dope career path. I also knew that if I wanted to go into that, I didn't necessarily uh, need to go to school. Like I kind of understood like the hustle behind sales. So I decided to go because I honestly wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was entering college. Sales was going to be my fallback, my plan B. I picked a major supply chain management that I was told would best help me figure out the movement and the operations of either a product or a service. Graduated school, realized I was too scared to go right into entrepreneurship. And actually, because I wanted to move out of the house, I didn't want to make no money because it was I wanted to optimize for leaving the house.
You were
So
scared to leave, but
I
also
needed a
scared
job.
scared more to stay.
Yeah. So I went to Plan B quickly sales after I took an internship in supply chain for Columbia Sportswear out west because I was trying to merge like what my dad did and like what I was thinking about doing. And I was just bored, and I felt more importantly that I wasn't a part of like the lifeblood of that company, and that sales, even at an earlier level, like an entry level, was the best chance of me feeling like I was actually part of helping that company grow. So I went to Plan B pretty quickly after college.
One thing, like a few things stuck out to me. So anybody listening, right? You had a corporate father as a mentor, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of inspired you, the big one. You didn't talk too deep about this, but I kind of read between the lines that you kind of felt that college was a waste of money. Am I putting words in your mouth by saying that?
So I felt that if I was going to go into sales, I could have just majored in marketing, which 15, 20 years ago, I was like, whatever, that's like a major
All
where
right.
people go into sales. Um, I didn't think college was, I now think college was a waste, but at the time I didn't because essentially I looked at college as a gateway to get me a job.
Yeah.
And if you think back 18 years ago, people were biased towards people who had went to college. It was just a fact. Times they are changing. People are realizing that. But 18 years ago, it certainly helped, I believe.
Yeah. Well, look, I had the same, like when I hear you talk, I had the same feeling where I was pre-med and I was kind of just taking my MCATs just to like, just do it and try to get in. But I kind of felt that sales was the way for me to be entrepreneurial and help people. And I realized I just want to be a doctor and help people. And you learn that like you can help people, or you can help people by making their systems faster, cheaper, more efficient, and then they need money for a doctor, right? So I think you knew instinctively. It sounds like you would be pulled towards sales, and inevitably fate took a hold of Jared Robin.
Yeah, I mean, sales gave me a pathway to be entrepreneurial with a base salary, right? Versus not. So it was kind of like a safety lever there, and then also or a safety gate. And also in a pathway in and of itself, once I got into tech sales, there was pretty good earning potential as well.
No, there's CEO earning, right? You could be a CEO of a company making six figures at best, and you could be I know account executives making 450, 350 at Oracle and those companies. So anybody listening, I think the big thing is that a lot of people think they need to, I'm a sales guy, I'm a this, but I think that the big thing that they should know is that picking your career path, uncertainty is normal, right? You're not supposed to know everything. You're not supposed to like just have this crazy plan. Like you're supposed to test things, right? And it's okay to feel, it's okay for anybody listening that if you considered sales or didn't consider sales, it's kind of okay to like feel unsure about it, right? If that makes sense, because you know, you're not supposed to be, right? You don't know until you start learning. And obviously people have different experiences depending on the first company that they work with, right? If somebody works for a top company that has hundreds of demo requests, their experience might be different from cold calling, 30,000 people.
Dude, I have tried like payment processor sales, like commission only, where I was like opening up a phone book and going. I left that fast. I was like, F this. I'd rather deliver Mexican food, which was true at the time. I delivered Mexican food, making roughly $10 an hour.
Did you choose Mexican food, or is it any job? So it looks deliberate.
My sister got us the jobs. And when I say us, hilarious story. My sister was a server at this Mexican place in our town, nice town in New Jersey. And she got my brother, who's younger than me, 8 years younger than me, a job as a busboy. And she got me a job as a delivery driver. I was literally, I thought I wanted to be like a pharmaceutical rep, because growing up in New Jersey, that's like kind of
just making money. I wanted to be
one
vibe.
Too. Like I just want to make $150K a year, have a car paid for, life is good. Like that's what my head was like.
There was that movie with that guy Jake Gyllenhaal, whatever it was. It was a rep.
Exactly. I was delivering Mexican food to pharmaceutical reps, like for their lunches, and I had resumes in the trunk of my car that I was giving.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the only reason, I think I got like 1 or 2 interviews from that, no jobs, but the only reason why I didn't get promoted at the restaurant to like a server like my sister was the manager, the GM looked at me and he goes, Jared, I know you have 1 foot out the door like every single day. I'm cool with that if you're a delivery driver. I'm not cool with giving you a promotion and having you leave. And I'm like, he's like, so what do you want? And I looked at him, I said, you're right. I'm going to stay as a delivery driver.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I respect the straight shooter who put me in my place.
I agree. Talk to me about how sales changed your life.
It took a while for sales to change my life, right? Like,
it's a while. Let's put a time on it.
Like a year. And
it's not too long.
so it took me until I got into a sales job that I was in for 7 years before it took hold. I worked at a company called Seamless Web right out of college. And here's the thing, college at the time helped you get all sorts of jobs outside sales jobs. There was like, the pharmaceutical company was not recruiting out of college. There was like no sales jobs recruiting in my college, and there were some others, and there was like recruiter jobs, but like that, I wasn't sure about that. I worked for Seamless Web 18 years ago, became seamless.com, was acquired twice for 3 months. I was cold calling office managers and I was having like moderate success. I gave up too fast. And I left. And I think I was doing like the commission only thing, which lasted like no time. And I was in this like state of purgatory. Like I was trying to find my place. And my dad went to a barbecue and met a FedEx sales rep who said, we're hiring in New York. And I'm like, this is perfect, because I went to school, if you remember, for logistics. And now I got my job and I'm making like 48K base, 60K at at plan-ish as a 23 and a half year old 18 years ago. That was fine. That was enough to get out of the house. That's when that was the first step of it changing my life. Like that's how it did. Like it gave me a purpose. And then I got promoted a few times, and now all of a sudden I'm making 100K plus, which was great. The second time, like it really changed my life. Now think like I wanted to be an entrepreneur, like truly, like in high school. I wrote a silly business plan, TJB Auto Detailing, Troy, Jared, Brian, in case you were wondering. And I'm like, I want to be an entrepreneur. Let's take a risk. And I found a seed stage company who was willing to let me do a lateral move as an AE, took a pay cut from like 80 or 85K to like 60K. I'm like, I'm going to make it in the commission. I'm going to make it. I need to get in. The product didn't work or whatever, but this is the second part. This was like the true changing my life. And this is where it gets kind of meta. Like it didn't necessarily change my life because there's a higher, like getting into tech sales earning potential, although that certainly is a factor. It literally changed my life because it was so fucking hard that I imploded. I was like number one rep in the world. And that's really great for your ego, right? Like you get like you get all the validation. So you have different phases. Like when you knock it out of the park in your 20s, it's kind of like an ego blowing up type thing. And your life has changed because you have like this confidence. Now, when you're in your 30s and you have a humbling situation at like 30 that like humbles you to the point you're not getting paid on time, you're living in an office building, all of this, it changes your life. And this is for the better, okay? Because it sounds like right now it's for the worst. But like it changes your life because it makes you go face to face with your fears. And there's two ways through it. Like at a young age, you go straight through it, right? Like
question. Was your biggest fear failure?
Yes. My biggest, it was a deviation of that. It was like not being able to exercise my ambitions. Like, because I went to this new space, no product market fit, like people are churning before I could even make commission. I'm like, what do I do now? Do I go a step back? Like with my tail between my legs? I can't get a lateral job because I haven't hit any numbers. They haven't even given me numbers. So like maybe, but I have to like convince them like that's not it. I have to stay here and figure this out. And oh man. So like I imploded internally. Couldn't sleep through the night. Like all of this came out and I'm like, fuck. So I went into meditation, temporarily abandoned like alcohol and stuff to like really, and now I've fully abandoned it. But like at that time I took a pause and I went inwardly and I got my shit handled, or as well as I could, like for a full year, like 30 weeks plus of meditation, like sans, drugs, alcohol, all that. So this moment was when sales truly changed my life. And then after you have like a humbling experience like that, when your psyche is like, whoa, I've already been at
I'm gonna unpack this question because I understand it, right? But I'm gonna ask one last thing.
Yeah, of course.
What was the pivotal point or pivotal event that really made you change your life around? I'm not saying your life was bad, obviously, but
so not being able to sleep through the night multiple nights and having to go to the doctor to get Xanax in hopes to sleep through the night with it, and saying to him, and I quote, "I think I need Xanax." And he looks at me and he goes, "You absolutely need Xanax." And I'm like, and that was like a whoa situation, because until then I had everything fine and all of this, and now all of this is bubbling up. I got the prescription, but because he said I needed that and I didn't want to become dependent on it, I didn't take one of them. Yeah. And instead I said, how I probably would have taken one of them if you didn't say, it's like kind of like an ego thing.
Yeah.
But that was it. Like
that's then, a great thing. So you were self-aware that your anxiety was at a high point. You had a pharmaceutical solution for it, but you kind of looked in the mirror and you're like, this is not the answer.
Every day
it's time for me to take control.
every day I'd go to the gym in this period, and I made friends with like one of the workers there, and I would just vent, and like oh my gosh, and he just responded back to me, and he was so sweet. His name is Jimmy. I gotta find him. Like, oh my, and then he saw my transformation back to a normal human. He's like, dude, you look scared as hell every single day I saw you. I
Yeah.
said, that's true. I was like
Uh,
literally going through the day, my heart beating through my chest from morning to night, able to go to bed at 12 a.m. after smoking a little bit of marijuana
it's
and,
okay.
and taking a
I'm guilty.
melatonin, waking up 2 hours later with my heart beating even faster. I'm like, I'm not going out like this.
Yeah, I want to unpack that question for the listeners, right? Because I think the awesome thing about asking you this question is not only are you a person who had his life transformed for sales, but you've built one of the biggest, fastest growing communities, and you're constantly changing lives yourselves, right? So I think when I ask you these questions, I could see that you answer them as Jared, the person who went through it, and also now Jared, the leader, right? But I heard something in the beginning of that question that stood out to me when you said that at the first job you said specifically that you gave up too fast,
Yeah.
right? And when you said that, what I took from that was that sales taught you how to not give up, and sales taught you that rejection is success. Correct statement, or am I putting words in your mouth?
It's correct. I mean, the one thing I think about all the time is the fear of giving up too early. As an entrepreneur, you hear about it like oh my gosh, that person gave up like right before they were going to have the big aha moment, and staying in whatever you're doing. Now, there are non-starters that can make you get out. 9 out of 10 times you don't have a non-starter there when you get out.
No, but this is important for people to listen, right? Because a lot of people take different career paths, right? They take career paths such as like social services, teachers, things that are very much about helping people that tend to be lower cost payments because they tend to be consistent jobs without failure, right? You're
Yep.
not really being pressured, right? And when I asked you how trails really transformed your life, you really talked more about like the almost trying machine that you went through that like shook you up, right? Where you had these manic highs, these manic lows, you had the sideway, you had the back forth. You thought you thought you were top of the world. Next thing you know, you thought you it, and
Yeah.
what people don't understand is there's a reason why salespeople earn more. There's a reason why CEOs earn more. There's a reason why engineers earn more. It's not because they're better, faster, smarter. It's because there's actually more rejection and failure in that industry, and people get rewarded more that can handle rejection and failure, right? And it took to me with like the best how sales really transformed your life. It wasn't like a single thing. It was a combination of you being able to act and operate as if you were a CEO before being a CEO, but being a CEO of your book of business,
Mm-hmm.
having the ups, the downs, the left and right, kind of molded you into the person you are now. And that also leads to higher income, which is something that people don't talk about because if you apply to be a teacher, it's awesome, right? But like you're not going to get rejection that often, and you're going to get an easy job, and you're going to get rewarded a little less. But when you get beat up, right? Like you get beat up by the world, which is a tough place. It's not an easy place. It's a tough place, right? You came out of that place transformed, and you came
Mm-hmm.
out of that place understanding that failure is success. You understood that in order to achieve something, you're gonna fail. You can't give up. And to me, it sounds like our generation needs that, right? I think we have a generation right now that I'm not going to say too much, right? Like I don't get canceled, right? But they could face a little bit more adversity. Let's say that, and I think we could maybe celebrate failure a little bit more, right? I think it's okay to be ninth place on a race and then work your butt off to become first place, right? And that's kind of what sales is about. Any advice to someone listening to this call that is either in a sales job and stuck, or considering going in sales, and obviously we can't do the advice of join the RevGenius community. We'll do that after because that
Sure.
is a place that helps
Yeah.
everybody. Any advice to somebody
I
who's
think
feeling that way?
yeah, I think the biggest advice throughout your career is to be authentic to yourself, right? Like, whether you're in a job too long, too little, you're looking for something new or to get in, like understand what you truly want and go for it. Um, and understand that's going to evolve. What you truly want at 22, in my case, was to move out of my mom's house, right? Like I didn't care about making six figures. I cared about making 60K, because that was the amount I could move out of the house. That evolved to wanting to make more. That evolved to wanting to start my own thing. Like when you're authentic to yourself, like I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I was too scared. But I took a step towards it, right? Like working for a seed stage company was my step towards it. After that, doing other things. It's okay not to go all in yet until you're ready. Like as I said, I imploded because I went a little too hard, too fast, but I was authentic to myself. And the universe will reward you for that. The universe will reward you when you try your best, when you are open to something, and when you put out what you want, right? And hopefully you're putting out authentically what you want, because you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it, and that's big. And I think those spiritual lessons are everything, and important. So if you want to get into sales, get into SaaS, like put it out there and then work your tail off for it, figure it out. And then when you want something different or evolution, like put it out. Like don't be afraid to ask. Jim Carrey had an awesome quote. Like so many people, and like I'll get the quote, but it's along the lines of like, don't ask the universe for what they truly want. They believe what they want is too far out there to get and not real. I'm the proof to ask the universe. And Jim Carrey famously wrote a $10 million check to himself, right? So whether that's sales or whatever, like keep asking, because it might start at sales, it might turn into entrepreneurship as it did for me and Amir. That's it.
Wow, I'm gonna recap this. All right, number one, embrace your insecurities. They're natural. They're normal, right? Number two, embrace your ambitions. It's okay to want to earn nice things, and it's okay to have goals. Mm-hmm. Number three, be true to yourself and take things as milestones, right? You're looking to get into sales. Don't think too far ahead. Think about your immediate goal, right? Maybe it's wanting to move out of your parents' house. Maybe it's wanting to take your wife or daughter on a trip, right? Mm-hmm. And go for it. And know that there's nothing too far out in the future that is unattainable. And if you know where you want to be at the end of the road, putting those thoughts and energies out into the world today are most certainly going to assist you in getting it. That's what I heard, Jared. I don't know if I...
Yeah. So you want to hear the craziest thing, like putting it out there? I was fully prepared to, I keep saying I wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was in high school. And I infer that my 20s weren't that, right? Like I was working in sales. The better part of my 30s weren't that either. Okay. But I still had on some level that I wanted this. COVID happened, forced me out of a job. And I said, this is my time now. I have nothing. And it happened. It's crazy. That's like the most far out way for it to happen. And everybody's story is going to be unique and different, but it'll happen. It's the universal.
I came up with CloudTask in 2014. I was working at NetSuite, right? I was a little bit scared to be an entrepreneur again. I wanted to have that corporate easy check. I was number 3 on my team. I got fired for having and I had 600,000 in sales. Mm-hmm. Other people on my team had 0. I got fired. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I immediately went full steam with CloudTask. I moved to Columbia, changed my life forever and changed so many people's forever. So I think anyone listening too is understand that like failure and rejection, it can set the universe in a positive direction if you're like your core ethics are you're just there to want to live a good life and you want to be happy and treat people well, right? Like these core principles that sound cheesy, they're not. The universe can read it and interprets it and it sends you positive signals, right? Guys, if you want to join one of the largest communities that most certainly helps with career tips and most certainly helps with technology, I got to get in that Slack more often.
You got it.
Join the link below, sign up. Jared, you're awesome. I want to continue to help your community grow, because I love how you're helping people. And then anybody else who needs an SDR job, you can sign up on our marketplace. We actually help you get jobs. So everyone here is just positively helping people, right? Like that's how we used to be. Like this is designed for people to hear the truth about leaders, right? Like people don't know that I was fired, that I was broke all the time. They don't know that, right? They see 40-year-old Amir, right? And they assume they don't know the blood, sweat, and tears. I suffer from ulcerative colitis. I've been stressed. I've
I
had
woke up at
times where
3:30 this morning. I'm
I,
still have
I
anxiety.
I hear you texting me at 3 o'clock. Yeah. So like, just understand that like we have a community that's out there of people that want to be better in this world. Join the community. We'll help each other. I don't have to say anything other than that. That's the truth. And that's the straightforward message. Jared, I respect you and I appreciate you. Anything, anybody who wants to follow you, connect with you, be part of that. What's your little spiel? Let's give you the spiel.
Connect with me on LinkedIn, /in/Jared Robin. I say that you heard me here or that you're friends with Amir. All good there. Join RevGenius, revgenius.com /sign-up, or just go to revgenius.com and hit any of those buttons. It'll go to a type form and then we'll get you in.
How many members are in the community?
36,000 plus. We also launched RevRoom. If you're a VP or C-suite, we're charging like $1,000 a year right now. That'll go up. We're an exclusive. We built an exclusive community for those.
I want in.
Let's talk.
I'll give you 1,000 pesos, Colombian. That's like $1.70. Jared, I'll let you go. This has been awesome. You're the man. I appreciate it. Everybody sees this. The links would be in below in the comments for you to sign up. And that's it. That's all. Until the next episode. You guys have a good one. Bye-bye.
We got to keep doing this. And Amir, thank you very much for being you. I appreciate you.
I think people hate me, but I'm not going to stop. You got to come to Columbia for the next Sales Agency Growth Summit. I'll let you go. Thank you, man. Take care.
Bye.